Mic is under my shirt. Hi Autophiles, Subhash here. I'm going to take this all-electric Volvo from KL to JB. Very minimal planning. I'm going to do that tomorrow. But before we go, I want to give you a brief overview of what this is. This is the Volvo C40, available in Malaysia, online only, 289,000, locally assembled. How is it different from the XC40? It has this spoiler design that looks like it's from the Proton X50. It's got a sloped back. It also has this second spoiler down here. This one has slightly better aerodynamics, which gives it slightly better range. Besides having cooler rear lights, they also do this. That's something new. On the inside, the inlays, instead of being some boring old brushed aluminum, they've got the topography of some national park in Sweden. But besides that, it really is very similar to the XC40, almost the same car, just that rear half is very different. So tomorrow I'm going to take this down in the morning. I'm going to do very minimal planning, so we'll see how it goes.
The next day.
It's 7:20 AM on a Saturday. But before we start this symbolically important event, I have to start with something else that's symbolically important: doing the recycling. So you don't actually have to turn on this car, you just get in and shift it into drive. Let me just stop and give you a briefing. I've got 89% battery left and 370 kilometers of range. That's okay. Johor Bahru is not 370 kilometers away. Let me just check on the Google Maps. Okay, you just scan a QR code. Then you sign in here. Are you signing into a car? Yes. Okay, I'll add a charging stop. Okay, this one is a 22-minute charge. It makes my whole journey under 4 hours. I'm going to be charging in iCaro, fast charger, 50 kilowatts. So all in all, my journey will be 3 hours and 52 minutes.
Later.
So I've been driving for 10 minutes. It's got it set up to remind me on Google Maps to exit in about 90 kilometers, and at the exit I'm going to charge the car up. Hopefully there is no one else charging there. So I'm going to give you some scenery of beautiful Malaysia and all its ugly billboards. Let's go check it out. So we got to the station. It's 8:40, so 1 hour. I have 55% left. Now let's see how this whole thing works. Oh, it's a Jom charge station, and all the charger markers are kind of faded thanks to the sunlight. So CCS2, this is the one we want. 50 kilowatt charging. This is such a short cable. Oh my god. Oh. That's as far back as she goes. Connect. Okay. Start. Okay, I think I have to scan this. Give me a second. There's some noises going on. The color is green and ta-da! It's charging. And as we step inside, you can see the charging speed. Oh, I get it. It's giving you 230 kilometers of range every hour. That's interesting. So yeah, it completes at 9:40 and now it's... Oh my god, I'm not gonna wait that long. I'm gonna wait until it's about 90% or 80% and then I will head off.
Meanwhile.
92%. Okay.
Later.
It's now 10:45. I've been driving for 8:45, 9:45, 3 hours. I did take a half an hour break to eat and charge up. I got it up to 90% and then now it's back down to 50% because from what I can tell, this car really drains battery when you drive it above 110 kilometers per hour. And since charging up, my Google Maps has kind of malfunctioned on me. The whole system thought I was in Europe for like half an hour, 40 minutes. I've come to this stop here in Machap to see if it can reset itself, and okay, it has reset itself. That's a good thing. I'm the tech support guy in my family and in my company, and half the time, in fact, I think 70-80% of the time when there's a problem, the solution is to turn it off and then on again. This car does not have a power button. So to off it, you have to literally walk out of the car, lock it, go take your toilet break or whatever it is, and then come back, and then that's your restart. It's a bit ridiculous. Small complaint. Anyway, we're back on the road again. 1 hour to my destination, and I'll have 26% battery when I reach. And then I gotta worry about where I'm gonna charge it in JB, because I know there are DC fast charging stations going and coming back. But while I'm there, what do I do to charge it? Well, we'll figure that out.
Later.
Okay, I've kind of reached the end of the... Why am I sideways? Okay, so the time is 11:30. I am now in Skudai. Just before the last toll, there's this gigantic rest area with like 4 petrol stations. And the Caltex here also has a Jom charge station. So I looked at my battery percentage and I was like, there's no DC chargers according to the map in Johor Bahru, which is insane. So I decided I'm gonna come here and charge this up as much as I can so that I can go around in JB. So I'll update you when I'm in Johor Bahru.
The next day.
So it's a new day. I'm deciding to try out the 3-pin domestic plug charging system and see how that fares. So to those of you who don't know, so what you saw yesterday with the sockets that I was using, that's DC charging. So when you have this and this thing being used, you're getting usually very fast charging. The wall boxes that people install at home for about 5,000 to 7,000 ringgit, those will be AC chargers. Those are like typically 11 kilowatts, 22 kilowatts. It takes about 6 hours, 4 to 6 hours to fully charge up your car. And then there's this, which is, it plugs into your regular 3-pin socket, but these are very slow. These are typically 12 hours plus. But since I'm going to be here another day, I'm going to try it out and see if it's viable. Okay, here goes nothing. Let's hope I don't short the house. It's gonna finish charging at 11, and right now it's 11:40. Essentially, you cannot get much out of this if the battery is running. So I'm gonna leave it to do its thing. And hopefully nothing in my parents' house trips or anything like that. Okay, update you later.
The next day.
Home charging is not viable. I was charging it from 12 PM, I would say, the previous day, until 6. So that's 18 hours of charging. And it got me only about 83% of battery life. From my parents' house in Johor Bahru to Skudai, and I'm down to 79%. So my initial plan, which I hope I can stick to, is to drive to Air Karo, and then by the time I reach there, I'm going to have 18%, and then I'm going to use the DC charger there to top up to another 80%. One thing that I think was a mistake was I was driving pretty fast on the way down, so I'm going to try to stick to the speed limit. It's 6:42. I think I can reach there in 2 hours.
2 hours later.
So I thought I could use the 180 kilowatt DC fast charging station that Shell has. But when I got there and I opened up the app after scanning the QR code, then it said that the stations were fully reserved. Anyway, it didn't look reserved, but it was. So I was like, whatever lah. I still had charge at the time. And my initial plan was to charge up here in Air Karo. So I am here. They've got a TNB Electron charger, which has 2 DC fast chargers, 90 kilowatt, 90 kilowatt. Charging up pretty fast. I literally just started charging before filming, and it went from 20 to 27%. And they say it'll finish 100% charging by 9:41. The time is 8:46. So an hour. I'm not gonna wait in an R&R for an hour.
1 hour later.
I got completely carried away. I was just doing work on my lap, and we're at 97%. I actually did stay until 9:40. Okay, so I'm gonna unplug and continue my journey. One thing to note is just how much the charging speed drops as you get past 80%. This was charging at like 400 kilometers per hour when I first started, almost 400. And now it's dropped down to 45 kilometers per hour. So I think you charge up to 80-90% is more than enough. After that, you just get diminishing returns.
Later.
Okay, so I've reached KL. The GPS was not working until I actually reached this area in Kuala Lumpur. So from Malacca to KL to Bukit Jalil, the maps function was completely not available. The message that came out was GPS not available. Glitches are expected on low-cost Android devices, but this is the first car with Google integrated, and I'm still getting glitches. I had 100% when I left Aikaro. I did not obey the speed limit all the time. I'm here now with 65%.
Later.
What a hell of a drive. So, conclusions. Would I take an electric car down to JB again? Probably not. If you're going down by yourself, then your plans are usually more fluid, they can change. But if you're going with a spouse or family, then, you know, there are like so many other factors that you have to bring into the equation. Is it possible to go KL to JB, maybe even JB to Penang? Well, it is definitely possible, I did it. Other takeaways about the C40 itself. I know it sounded like I was just having a bad time the whole time. This is actually a pretty amazing car. Very quiet, very comfortable for the size. But there are some major complaints. That rear window is too small. If I was on a slope, I wouldn't be able to see the cars at the back. Another thing that I didn't like was the panoramic moonroof. Just a gigantic piece of tinted glass, and it just lets heat in all the time. It lets too much light in. It's not suited to our weather, and it comes with the car as standard, so at least give it a cover lah. Dude, look at how hot it is today. Besides that, another complaint, Google's integration was not perfect. I think there were some charging stations which were missing there. It also didn't seem to understand that if I'm going to JB and I ask for a charging station, not to recommend me charging stations that are in Singapore. This is Google's fault, I think, not Volvo's fault. There was also a problem with the GPS. It cut off twice, once on the way down, on the way back. It was stuck in Ayakaro. It kept thinking that it was in Malacca, all the way until I reached my house in KL. And when I reached my house, suddenly it just came back. So before I could film it, it was reset by itself. So that's my my take lah on the C40, whether you should take it a long distance, whether you should buy it. For now, I think electric vehicles still a ways away lah. This is nobody's first car, this is nobody's second car, this is probably somebody's third car. And if your third car costs 289,000 ringgit, then what are you doing watching this video? Okay, Autophiles signing out.